Great morning to you, Craig. Welcome back to the show. Appreciate your time and switching your schedule around. Yesterday it was the press conference that everybody was waiting for. Mike Babcock alongside Stan Bowman and DJ Smith. Just an overview of that. What are you pulling out from yesterday's appearance from Mike Babcock and the official announcement of him hired as head coach?
Well, the questions that surround Mike Babcock were there. I think he acknowledged some of it. I don't know if he was fully accepting responsibility for some of his actions, but I take him at his word when he says my intentions were not to put players in a bad spot. That's fine. It's now about show us that you're not going to repeat the errors of your past. That's as simple as that. And we'll know that and take it from there. That's how I feel about Mike. Mike has been his resume as a coach is solid. We know that, but now you got to show that you're adapting and that you're changing. Those are two mandatory things for Mike Babcock. A couple things I'm going to say though. Mike Babcock hasn't coached in the league since 2019, almost 7 seasons, 7 years. He last won a playoff series in 2013. And yes, he had success in 2014 at the Sochi Olympics. I find it very, very shocking that Stan Bowman would say that Mike Babcock is the missing piece. Because if Mike Babcock can stop pucks and play defense and give you some offensive depth, he's the missing piece.
I know it's roster construction. You've been preaching from that hymnal and you're not wrong there. No. And you're right. We'll see what happens. We kind of know allegedly what's gone on in the past, but the only way you can tell now is moving forward. And just how important he was in the middle of Bowman and then DJ Smith. And it seems to me, deciphering through that presser yesterday, that DJ is going to be the guy, as Dave mentioned earlier. If you need to have a little drink in the hotel lounge and talk about things, DJ Smith will be the guy, the liaison, I guess, if you will. And he talked about, how much he loves players. So having DJ Smith on board as well with Mike seems to be a good pairing, I guess, at least now.
Well, Mike knows him. I like DJ. In 2004, the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. John Tortorella was the coach. Craig Ramsey was the assistant coach. Craig Ramsey's a dear friend. I worked with Craig. The players in Tampa Bay called Craig Ramsey. He used to, when Torts would get going, Rammer would put up his hand. He had big hands, and they call it the big hand of reason. I don't care if DJ Smith has a drink wherever he has a drink. He better be ready to tell Mike Babcock, this ain't happening right now. Stop. I got this. You be an intermediary, right? This isn't about massaging things. It's about standing right up when it's challenging and challenging the coach. The players better be able to do that too.
Craig, it was talked about yesterday, and we've known this for a while, that Babcock met with the inner sanctum, if you will, of Oiler players. McDavid, Draisaitl, Zach Hyman. There may have been others, but those are the names we know. What do you think of that idea and the notion that the player voice now has to be heard, certainly in Edmonton's case, in a hiring of this magnitude, that the players are right there in the middle of it? What do you think of that?
Well, I think the one thing, I think you always should be trying to get insight from your players and get their feelings on things. I think that's an everyday thing. You can't go to the players and go, hey, what do you think of Mike Babcock? Or what do you think about, we're thinking about making a trade? That the player's job is to come in and play. You want them to be involved with respect to knowing it, and you want to get their insight. But at the same time, and that's I have no problem with that. My biggest problem, Dave, is why is everybody telling? Just we've hired the coach. You should know. If you're the management, the ownership, you know that they feel fine about it. If that is how they feel about it, and I would imagine that is the case, then you just say, "Hey, we're really confident Mike Babcock's the right guy for us." That's all you got to say. You don't got to say the players signed off on it. Maybe we should make the players the GM. Maybe we should make them the president of hockey ops. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think it puts the players in a really, really tough spot. Because it's like, oh, well, they approved. Oh, really? So without their approval, it doesn't. Now, if it doesn't go right, well, what happened? Well, it's the players. Like, to go to the players. Are the players going to be asked about changing the coach if they have to change the coach? Like, well, collaborate. Talk with your. You should always be doing that, but don't put it out there that like, oh, the players are on board.
Yeah, and I did find it funny yesterday. Like Babcock was asked about Columbus, and then he talked like he said his wife told him to get out of there. Which,
yes,
we kind of thought in movie terms, like he was kind of, trying to infiltrate a building, and the wife was on the phone, and Yarmo down the hallway with the gun or whatever coming after him. But so he mentioned the wife in Columbus, but then he also, I mean, to your point, Craig, a lot has been said about meeting hours on end with the leadership group and the players, and it just kind of seems that if, in fact, things go haywire, well, then the blame is on them.
Yeah, you approved it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's what I have a problem with. That's what I have a problem with. And again, you talk to the players. The players shouldn't be put in a position where they have to publicly weigh in. Like, what's the first thing a player says? What's the first things the players say when a coach is fired? Well, that's on us. That's on us. That's
right.
That's because of us. Well, yeah, I know it's difficult. We like them. Like, the reason you fire a coach is because you feel that the current you're letting go is not getting the best out of the players, and players can be surprised. But that's what they say. It's on us. Don't do that to the players.
Craig,
I think it's poor management. I'll be straightforward. I think it's poor management.
Craig, of the trades, some other business got done in the NHL yesterday. Who got better? Which of the deals surprised you the most, and who in your mind got better?
Well, Chicago got better. There's no question that Chicago got better with Bo and Byram, and it's important for them to get better. You can't just keep drafting young players and saying we have a good prospect pool, and you have 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds populating your lineup, and you think you're going to win. That they need to find a way to now be competitive. And I'm not talking about working hard and competitive within a game. I'm talking about competitive to win games, to move your team forward up in the standings. So I thought that was a terrific trade. Interestingly enough, they had the decision back in the 2019 draft whether to draft Kirby Dach or Bowen Byram. And they chose Kirby Dach, who they traded a few years later, and now they get Bowen Byram. I think Bowen's an excellent defenseman. I think he'll thrive in Chicago. A little bit, I know there's cap logistics and cap math that has to be part of it. So the Buffalo Sabres, with three really good defensemen, and Dahlin, Samuelson, and Power, maybe felt that like this is what they have to do. They get the fourth pick. We'll see what they do with the fourth pick. They have Radim Murka, who they drafted in the first round last year, big 6'5", 6'6" defenseman, played in Seattle. If they hold the pick, I would imagine they'll take a right shot defenseman at that fourth spot and try to round out, balance their blue line. That's what I would expect them to do. The Ottawa Senators, when they traded Brady Tkachuk, became a weaker team. Now they've taken some of what they got from Brady Tkachuk and they've made their team better. Is it as good as it was with Brady Tkachuk? William Eklund is a different player profile than Brady Tkachuk, but 53 points last year. He's a good player. He's a competitive player. He's skilled. He fits into that top six group of forwards that can add skill. So one day they're not as strong. The next day they made themselves better, and that's just part and parcel of what you're trying to do to adjust. I think Simon Nemec going to the Calgary Flames, I think it's a terrific acquisition for the Calgary Flames. A lot of look at it this way. They traded pending unrestricted free agent Rasmus Andersson, who was going to get big money, and Nazem Kadri, who wanted a chance to compete for a Stanley Cup at 36, 37 years old, for Simon Nemec. That's the trade. If you look at the first round picks, 2027 first round pick, 2028 first round pick. So for me, the Calgary Flames get a really good young defenseman. It protects Parekh a little bit, and now they're doing what with younger players that are available. Again, you can't just build through the draft. Now they get a good young player that's got NHL games under his belt, NHL experience, and I think Simon Nemec is a top three defenseman all day long.
And Jordan Kyrou is the top of a lot of fans here and their wish lists for this coming off season. He goes to the Capitals, and it seems to me what the Blues got back, I mean, I just don't think the Oilers probably could have matched that in the end.
Well, I mean, Eric, what do you mean they probably couldn't match it? They don't have a chance to match it. They don't have the draft currency. They don't have prospects, and that's just where the Oilers find themselves. That's why when we talk about the Edmonton Oilers and trying to contend for a Stanley Cup, the challenges are pretty significant for them to bolster their lineup. Jordan Kyrou is a really good player. Connor McMichael and Milton Gastrin, who's a really good young Swedish player. I mean, St. Louis was looking to make some changes. We've heard Jordan Kyrou's name for a long time, and I think the change will help Jordan. It will help the Washington Capitals. And now the Blues with the 11th pick, the 15th and 16th pick. I mean, they now have draft currency. It'll be interesting to see what they do, guys. We had some fun. We did a mock draft yesterday that lasted about 5 hours. It had a shelf life of 5 hours. That's how short it was. And we had a little fun with the Ruck twins who played Medicine Hat going to Vancouver. The Sedins doing it. 15 and 16. Maybe Liam and Marcus Ruck end up as St. Louis Blues.
Ooh.
Okay. Don't mind that. Where can we find this mock draft? Is it out there in the
does it live somewhere?
Oh no, it has been vaporized, Eric. It is
no evidence.
Is in the ethers of the universe somewhere.
Yes. As we inch closer to the draft, do you get a sense, I guess, and just reading the tea leaves and everything reported, where a Darnell Nurse destination or fit might be since we've talked to you last?
No, I really don't. And what's interesting to me, and I'll ask you guys this question: is there any possibility that Darnell Nurse stays and Mike Babcock says, "Let me work with him"?
Yes.
Well, do you think because DJ Smith, a lot of fans were kind of grasping at their ties yesterday, saying don't go there. He was talking about the player and everything, and I mean, never say never. I guess it does seem like he's eventually going to be dealt, but. Are we far down that path, in terms of the discussion and the want and everything?
I think that's the question right there. And I think it goes hand in hand. And we've talked about this before, Eric and Dave, is that if you're a team that has an urgency and an immediacy to what they're trying to accomplish and become a contender, and I'm not talking about for the playoffs, we're talking about for the cup here. That's the mandate. You can't just trade Darnell Nurse and get prospects. Now, it might be a two-step process, and now you have sometimes a player just needs a different lens to be seen through. And maybe that new lens is Mike Babcock and DJ Smith, perhaps. But it's a legitimate question. Are you too far down the path? And it's hard to put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
In fact, it's impossible. And it feels like Darnell got to a point where he said enough. I'm moving on, and it feels like the Oilers. So I guess I can talk pie in the sky. I can talk optimism. It feels like Darnell is going to be moved. I don't know where, but one of the things that I think has become very clear: teams are not just sitting idly by. I mean, we've seen the 9th pick being traded twice in the draft. We've seen the 4th pick being traded. And the action and the movement seems to be afoot.
Yeah.
Paul Barma has moved. Jordan Kyrou has moved. Simon Nemec has moved. I guess I'll finish it with this, Eric. I'll be shocked if Darnell Nurse doesn't move.
Yeah, and I'll join you in that club. Real quick one for you. The Sharks are loaded, picking number 2 as it stands. I know you did your mock draft, but give us something because you're a draft guy and all this stuff. I mean, what happens Friday? Is there something that you see kind of wild? Give us a wild prediction that maybe a lot of us don't see coming that you might think could transpire.
Oh, geez, wild. Yeah, well, I think are the San Jose Sharks ready to move 2 and 9?
Yeah.
To get a player.
Yeah.
That it feels now with Simon Nemec, who was the 2nd overall pick being traded, feels like the 4th pick being traded. It feels like the San Jose Sharks, with a lot of good young players, want to take that 2nd and 9th pick and make a move that really adds to their team now. That's I can say, maybe they'll take Stenberg, and we know the names of the players in the draft. That's what I think I'm waiting to see unfold, because I think that's where the San Jose Sharks find themselves.
Yeah, no, that should be interesting. We're keeping an eye on that. Great stuff, Craig. Appreciate you switching up days, and enjoy the draft, man.
Yeah, and Mike Babcock's walk-up song, "Bad to the Bone."
Bad to the bone. It's. I mean, that's a match made in heaven. Thank you, Craig. Craig Button joining us on the Firehouse Subs hotline today.